Good afternoon, WYMT First Alert meteorologist Evan Hatter with a check of our First Alert weather day, and we now have a tornado warning, so we will be breaking into programming for a little while. This tornado warning is in effect for portions of Estill, Powell, and into a very small part of Lee County in Kentucky. We've been watching this thunderstorm into portions of Madison County. It's north and east of Richmond, and this warning runs until certainly past the 3 o'clock hour. We just want to make sure of the timing on this. This tornado warning is in effect until we run through the 3:30 bottom of the hour. So we're watching the potential for a spin-up tornado with this thunderstorm. The tornadic part of the thunderstorm is moving out of Madison County right now. It's east of Richmond at this point. Not only is the tornado a threat with this, but also the potential for gusty winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and the potential for hail to the size of quarters with this thunderstorm. Who's in and who's out? Well, Irvin is in this tornado warning at this point. So Irvin up to Stanton. This takes in much of the Mountain Parkway into portions of Powell County right now and the northern half of Estill County. Again, a tornado warning for Estill, Powell, and far northern Lee counties. This does not include Beattyville, and this runs until 3:30. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go inside and kind of diagnose this thunderstorm. What we can do, the Doppler radar, it allows us to go in and check what the winds are doing inside the thunderstorm. So we're going to do that really quickly and turn on the velocity scope. And what that allows us to do is see where the winds are turning. Now, we're looking at this storm from way back here at Jackson, but what we're seeing on the velocity display in eastern Madison County is green next to red. The green, winds moving toward the radar at Jackson. Red, winds moving away from the radar at Jackson, and that is where we have the potential for a tornado. I'll even highlight it, kind of draw it to show you where we're going with this over the next little bit. This is moving to the south and east at about 40 miles per hour. So there's the area we're watching, eastern parts of Madison County, and this is pushing to the east at about 35, 40 miles per hour. In fact, let me get you that speed. We'll put a track on this thunderstorm as it continues to push off to the east. Again, a tornado warning in effect for the northern half of Estill County, for Powell County, and into portions of Lee County. This thunderstorm is moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. So we'll go ahead and put a track on this thunderstorm while we're back here and just show you generally the way it's moving. It's moving off to the east and the southeast at about 35 miles per hour. So if this holds together, and it's had quite a signature as it's gone on for the last little bit, so we're moving this at about 30 miles to the east at 35 miles per hour. So the Fox community, you have about 10 minutes before this storm moves into your location. Kimbrell by 3:13. We're talking Irvin, downtown Irvin by 3:16. Okay, you've got about 20 minutes. If you're in downtown Irvin, you've got about 20 minutes before this storm starts moving into your region. Vaughn's Mill by about 3:20. Pilot 3:32. Holding together over towards Slade by 3:39, and eventually Rogers by 3:46. So this thunderstorm continues pushing to the east at about 35 miles per hour. It's not the only thunderstorm we're dealing with. It is the only tornado warning that we're dealing with at this point. We've had no indication of anything on the ground with this thunderstorm or any reports of damage so far. This is where the Louisville office gives way to the Jackson office. If you're looking from the Weather Service perspective, Louisville's responsibility ends here and Jackson takes over once you get into Estill County. We've had no reports so far of anything on the ground. It's not the only storm we're watching, though. We've been watching this severe thunderstorm now moving out of Perry County into portions of Letcher County. That'll affect Whitesburg here before too long. Another very strong thunderstorm, not severe yet, but likely 50-mile-per-hour winds, hail to the size of nickels with that storm north of the Pine Mountain community into portions of Harlan County. We've been watching another severe thunderstorm over Lake Cumberland into the northern parts of that's the northern parts of Wayne County into southern Pulaski County, and we've been watching more strong to severe thunderstorms up 27 as you head into Lincoln County, back toward Casey County. So it's already an active afternoon. We want to remind you of those tornado safety precautions. You want to get to the lowest floor in your house, a basement if you've got it. If you don't, an interior hallway or a bathroom, a closet, somewhere that doesn't have windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You'll want to get in a closet, a hallway, a bathroom. If you've maybe got an old work helmet, an old football, baseball helmet, anything like that, put it on. Hard sole shoes in case there's damage. You got to walk through bricks and nails and wood on the ground. Again, away from windows, avoid large open areas like gymnasiums out there as well. And if you're in a car or a mobile home, time to call your friend. Actually, your time was a while ago to call that friend and make sure, hey, we need to go meet up today for that potential for, because we do have that potential for severe weather into the region. Now, again, this is the wide view we're showing you that it's not everybody dealing with it, but again, we have this tornado warning that's in effect for Estill, Powell, and a very small part of Lee County. This does not include Beattyville. That's off to the south, but we're watching this area right here. This is what's called a hook echo. What's happening is the environment that this storm is in, it's along a warm front. There's a wind shift right there, right? And the storm is being affected by this wind shift. It's rotating. And as we see the rotation in the thunderstorm, that curls that wind back into on the backside of that thunderstorm. And that's why that's an indication of rotation. So what we're going to do now is check the velocity. And they've already trimmed the warning there into portions of Madison County. So we're just going to check the velocity with this particular thunderstorm. And again, right here, I'm going to zoom in on that area. It's crossing into Estill County right now, okay? This is moving into Estill County. This is a strong indication of rotation. Notice how the greens and the reds are very close to each other. This is College Hill, okay? This is Madison County. This is heading into Estill County, so the community of Fox. You got about 5 minutes if you're in Fox, okay? This area, if we see a tornado, that's where it's going to be. It's crossing into Estill County now, moving right on top of Fox here within the next few minutes. Going to go check on the Weather Service chat, make sure we don't have anything new from what we've seen here, but that is a strong indication to me that we've got some strong rotation with that thunderstorm at this point. We're going to go back to the radar here and show you again, right near College Hill and right near Fox. That is where we've got the greatest potential for a tornado. Now, I'm going to show you another product, okay? This is called correlation coefficient. We know about the Doppler part of Doppler radar, shows us which way the winds are going. What we're going to do now is see if there's anything in the thunderstorm that tells us, hey, we may have seen something hit the ground and lofting debris. So that area just to the west of the county line there, I'll circle it, that's got my attention a little bit, but what we're doing in this scenario, it's likely displaced, and if you notice the kind of waves out from that going to the west, notice that's a little bit of a radar glitch there, so I'm not entirely sure if that is where we're looking. And there's the latest scan as that pushes closer into Estill County, northern parts of Estill County. At this point, the strongest possibility for a tornado is likely going to go north of downtown Irvine. This is moving to the east between 30 and 35 miles per hour. So we will highlight the portion of this storm that is pushing the possibility of a tornado in the next half hour. Hargett within the next less than 10 minutes or so. Kimbrell by about 3:11. Vaughn's Mill 3:18. Knowlton by about 3:25. Cobb Hill by about 3:27. If it holds together toward Patsy by about 3:30 as we watch this severe, potentially tornadic thunderstorm move through far eastern parts of Madison County into the northern parts of Estill County. You're watching WYMT TV in Hazard, Kentucky. We are following a tornado warning in effect for portions of northern Estill County, for Powell County, and for the very far northern parts of Lee County in Kentucky. This warning runs until 3:30 this afternoon. This is a radar-indicated tornado warning. We have no information yet of anything that is on the ground. Okay, we have no confirmation of anything on the ground right now, but looking at the velocity display, that is certainly a possibility that this storm could put down a quick, brief spin-up tornado as it pushes off to the east. Let's turn on the velocity scope and we'll show you what's going on. This is going to cross Highway 89 before too long, and there again you see where the rotation is very tight. Just now crossing into Estill County. It's in northwestern Estill County. This is going to be the area of rotation that we're looking at is likely about 7 miles to the north and west of downtown Irvine. So if you're in Irvine, you shouldn't be outside. You should be seeking shelter. But if you're outside, you're looking to the north. That is essentially what we're looking at as this continues off to the east. You notice the shape this thunderstorm has. It's kind of got that kidney bean shape to it. That is the rotation in the atmosphere that is allowing this thunderstorm to rotate. What it's doing is this thunderstorm developed, and there's a warm front in the area. And what that means is that there's a wind shift right there. Winds north of the warm front are coming out of the north. Winds to the south of the warm front are coming out of the south. And that's got just enough spin that the updrafts of these thunderstorms can start to rotate, and that's what we're dealing with. And that's why you get this kind of backwards kidney bean shape, the hook echo we call it. The hook is rather broad right now into western parts of Estill County, but nonetheless, it does have the possibility to produce a tornado as it moves to the east here into northern parts of Estill County. So we'll look at the velocity again and show you what we're talking about as this continues to scoot off to the east into Estill County. It's going to cross Highway 89 rather shortly. And again, there you see it, the rotation right here. It's moving it's moved a little faster. Let's click that off and you can see this area right here, north of Irvine by about 5-6 miles. You need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. Let's zoom in and kind of get you the nitty-gritty on some of these smaller communities there into the northern parts of Estill County and eventually into Powell County as well. Not far from Stanton, we have to keep an eye on this. So Hargett, Fox, within the next little bit. Had a ham radio report from College Hill. They had some heavy rain there. No reports of damage so far, which is good news, but we still need to watch that as it pushes to the east. This is the most likely area. That's the area kind of most likely to see a tornado develop north of Fox and headed toward Hargett over the next little bit. This is Kentucky 89. It's going to cross Kentucky 89 within the next 10 or 15 minutes. We got about 25 minutes left on this warning. So kind of zoom back. This is the latest radar scan coming in. So let's check the new velocity scan just to see what we're dealing with this particular thunderstorm. And again, right here near Fox, we have to watch very closely. I think the rotation here has broadened out a little bit, but we're picking up on a little area of rotation here. I think this is an area where the radar coverage isn't great, but near Fox, see where kind of the bright greens are next to the dark green? Sometimes you get in these zones, and that's where that can be. And it's something we're going to continue to watch as this pushes to the east at between 30 and 35 miles per hour. And like we were talking about earlier, not the only thunderstorm we're dealing with. We have a couple of thunderstorms. This was a briefly severe thunderstorm. That warning was allowed to expire at the top of the hour into portions of Letcher County now. Another strong thunderstorm. You see the kind of appendage on that east of the community of Pine Mountain there into the northern parts of Harlan County, and that's headed toward Cumberland over the next little bit there, right along the kind of Harlan and Letcher County line, and even affecting far southern Perry County. That's not severe, but that's likely producing the winds in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour as we head through the next little bit or so. And we've been also watching this severe thunderstorm, formerly severe thunderstorm, that was in portions of northern Wayne County. That continues to push into the southern parts of Pulaski County, likely seeing at least nickel-sized hailstones and winds to 50 miles per hour with that thunderstorm, and watching another severe thunderstorm just to the west of Pulaski County. Right now it's in Adair County and will cross northern Russell County and eventually into portions of Pulaski County near Somerset over the next little bit. So let's reset. Not everybody's seeing severe weather, but we are focused on one area in particular, and that is portions of Estill and Powell counties, where a tornado warning continues until 3:30 for Estill, Powell, and a very small portion of not Wolfe County, not yet, but into portions of Lee County is where that warning is. And we're watching the very far northern sections of Estill County. If you're south of downtown Irvin, this is not a concern for you. This thunderstorm is going to go north of Irvin. Irvin's in the polygon. I would stay in your safe spot in Irvin to be safe. But at this point, the best chance for that potential tornado is going to be near Fox, south of Palmer, getting ready to cross Highway 89 here within the next little bit. And we'll throw the velocity scope back on so you can see what we're talking about. It's a little messy right there between Fox and Whit Springs, but that's the area we need to watch very, very closely for the potential for a spin-up tornado as this moves through the northern parts of Estill County. And I think we just got another scan in there. We've been talking a lot about Estill County, but Powell County is in this warning as well. And this storm, we've talked about the areas likely to see the potential for a tornado. But north of that, if you're near Palmer, up towards Spout Springs, and eventually into Waltersville kind of there along the Mountain Parkway into Powell County, we're likely to see some large hail. The hail size potential there to the size of quarters as that continues. At 3:08, this storm was located over Hargett near Irvin, moving east at 35. So this warning continues for about another 20 minutes as this continues into the far northern parts of Estill County and eventually into Powell County as well. So we need to keep a very close eye on this. We have gotten no reports of damage from this thunderstorm yet. We were watching that a little bit earlier back when it was in parts of Madison County, which is when it was east of Richmond. So far, we have not heard of any reports of damage, and that is good, but that doesn't mean we haven't seen a small spin-up tornado. That's the type we'd see today. They're very short-lived. Okay, these are not the big type of, the picturesque plains tornadoes, right? You conjure up the image of a tornado in your mind and you say, oh, it's a big, rotating. These are going to be small. These are going to be brief. They're not going to be on the ground long, but they can still do damage. And that's why we have to take that extra precaution today, because we're dealing with this potential right now in the northern parts of Estill County, and very quickly moving into Powell County over the next little bit. We haven't put a track on this in a little bit, so let's go ahead and track this out for at least the next, the warning's out for another about 20 minutes. And so we will continue to watch that. We'll do 20 minutes on this as this moves kind of to the east, and then we'll check up on a new warning. We just got severe thunderstorm warning. Hargett, you have about a minute as this moves toward you. I think the greatest threat for a tornado is going to be south of you, but we need to watch that, and Knowlton as we get closer to 3:30. New severe thunderstorm warning now in place for a storm off to the west, or off to the south and west of the tornado warning that we're watching. So let's back out and we'll show you if I can pull the right tool here or not. Hang on. There we go. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning for Rockcastle and Jackson counties. This runs until 4 o'clock. This is 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail to the size of nickels. This is going to be crossing Interstate 75 here within the next little bit. This is moving to the east at, make sure I've got this one here. So if you know anybody driving on Interstate 75 between Richmond and Mount Vernon, or between Mount Vernon and London, let them know. They've got a severe thunderstorm heading their way. This one over Gum Sulphur or near Mount Vernon, moving east at 30. So if you know anybody crossing Interstate 75 right now, we'll track this out. This is moving at, hang on. Oh, I've messed something up. Hang on. This is moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. We'll get back to the main display here in just a second. We'll reset and talk. So anybody in Conway, that's northern Rockcastle County, Mount Vernon, here within the next 10 minutes or so. Wellhope 325. 3 Links 332, that's about 20 minutes away. Loam by 341 over towards Sand Gap 343. Anvil and McKee, if it holds together, as we cross the 4 o'clock hour there. So let's reset, regroup, show you the full display. You see that yellow color behind most of the map. That's a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect until 8 o'clock for everybody but the very far northern parts of the region, and that runs until 8 o'clock. And we're kind of seeing wave 1 and wave 2 of these storms moving in. Wave 1 of the storms that have gone up ahead of this line, and we're talking places like into portions of Pike County and Floyd County right now. These are pop-up thunderstorms. They haven't really, we had a couple of these go severe, a really strong storm there along the Letcher-Harlan County line and another one near Whitesburg, but all of these are pushing to the east. They haven't developed that much. Most of the energy has been along the warm front and with this line of storms that's pushing into the area. Now the good news is once this line of storms pushes out, we're done. And the severe weather threat is over. You can see the Weather Service in Louisville is already kind of clearing off severe thunderstorm watch box out back to the west. But we are still focused on several thunderstorms, one of them being this tornado-warned storm in the northern parts of Estill County, parts of Powell County, likely producing the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail to the size of quarters as that crosses the Estill-Powell County line west of Stanton. And again, you can see the hook on this thunderstorm, giving us the indication that we are likely dealing with at least rotation in the thunderstorm, if not a tornado on the ground. We have no reports of that yet, but let's turn on the velocity scope so we can see. It's a little messy through here, but the possibility still is there. We may not be seeing it necessarily on the velocity display, but we are watching it on that potential as it pushes to the east, just the signature alone at this point as it moves through the northern parts of Estill County. Irvin, this is to your north, so I would say the likelihood of a tornado in Irvin is rather low. We're going to continue to watch this push off to the east, kind of between Irvin and Stanton over the next 20, 30 minutes or so. This warning continues for another 15 minutes until 3:30 as this pushes off to the east. The warning again for Estill County, northern Estill County, for southern parts of Powell County, that does include Stanton and much of the Mountain Parkway corridor, and also a very small sliver of Lee County in Kentucky. This does not include Beattyville at all at this point. But again, I've turned on the velocity a little bit further to the north. But again, there's what we're watching. North of Irvin, it's a little messy, but you can still see the kind of brightness in there in that messy radar display that tells us, hey, maybe there's something there that we need to pay attention to as we head through the next a little bit. And I'm also going to turn on, we call it the debris detector or correlation coefficient. What that is the radar's ability to see whether or not things in the atmosphere are the same shape, right? If they're the same shape, it's probably rain. If they're not the same shape, like you see a hole like this, I'm not saying that's what that is. I think we have an area of kind of a radar glitch here. But if we don't see the same, that's what's telling us, hey, maybe we've got some things that aren't shaped the same, like tornado debris in the air. What I'm seeing here, just analyzing this from a radar meteorology standpoint, I don't see anything that would tell me that we have something on the ground or that anything's picked up damage. But I got to tell you, that shape is giving me pause as that moves to the northern, through the northern parts of Estill County, eventually into Powell County over the next little bit. Let's kind of regroup. We're going to put another track on this as this pushes off to the east. This is moving at about 30 to 35 miles per hour as it continues pushing to the east over the next little bit. The tornado warning continues until 3:30. So let's back this out a little bit, push off to the east, and track that area of rotation. Let's see. Make sure I've got the right speed there. 35 miles per hour. Let's move it to the east for the rest of the warning. So about 25 minutes pilot within the next, by about 3:34. Over toward Knowlton, 3:29, and Fitchburg here, 3:27. So we continue to watch that potential. And now a new severe thunderstorm warning. This one is, we're watching that potential into portions now. We were talking about this warning earlier, or this storm. Cumberland is now under a severe thunderstorm warning there in portions of Harlan and Letcher County, right along US 119. So if you know anybody traveling along US 119 there near Cumberland as you cross from Harlan into Letcher County there, between basically south of Eola and down toward Cumberland, that's where the severe thunderstorm warning is on this as that continues to push on to the east at about, this one is moving at 40 miles per hour. That will be pushing off into portions of Wise County once that moves out of Letcher County. Some folks maybe in Whitesburg or Isom over to Colson, Blackie, Jenkins, maybe getting the alert on their phone. Hey, the severe thunderstorm warning in Letcher County. This is for the very far southern part of Letcher County, but the potential there for 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail to the size of quarters. The National Weather Service has continued the tornado warning there for Estill and Powell counties. We're going to recenter that there. We'll kind of move it off to the west so we can kind of make room there. This is now moving at 40 miles per hour north of Irvin. We have not, this is still radar indicated. We do not have a confirmation of anything on the ground, but what's interesting here is that we're now talking about hail to the size of, I believe that's ping pong balls. So this is hail an inch and a quarter in diameter, or inch and a half in diameter, excuse me, as that works. It's now crossing Estill and into Powell County. You see the warning flashing because they've updated it. It's now crossing from Estill into Powell County, and that hail is now potentially affecting the Mountain Parkway corridor as well. So if you know anybody traveling along the Mountain Parkway, maybe they're in Campton right now, say, hey, you might want to pull off there at Campton or Slade before you get into this storm because it's looking pretty nasty with that potential for hail to the size of ping pong balls and, of course, the potential for a spin-up tornado. Again, we have had no confirmation of anything on the ground, but we still have that potential for a tornado as this pushes to the east at 40 miles per hour. So let's zoom in a little and put a track on this, okay? It's crossed Highway 89. The next Kentucky highway in the path of this is going to be 213 as that works into portions of Estill and Powell County. So let's move this ahead 30 minutes into, that would put it eventually into the southeastern parts of Powell County and eventually into Wolfe County as well, where we currently have no indication of, we currently have no tornado warning in Wolfe County, but that potential will be there. We'll wait and see what the Weather Service does. We have about 10 minutes left on this particular warning as well. And I also want to point out, we've been talking about this, so we've been talking about the tornado warning. Pilot, 3:35, that's after the warning expires, but I'm not going to say that they may not extend that warning further past that. Standing Rock at 3:42, Zachariah as you cross into Wolfe County by 3:45, and now also Rogers, which is kind of south of the Mountain Parkway there, not long after you cross into Powell County, or Wolfe County, I should say, from Powell County, south of the Mountain Parkway. Couple more updates. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning for Wise and the city of Wise County and the city of Norton in southwest Virginia from that storm down near Cumberland. That has the potential to produce hail to the size of quarters and winds to 60 miles per hour. And I also want to point out this storm, we talked about it earlier, crossing Interstate 75 near Mount Vernon. That storm has the potential to produce winds in excess of 70 miles per hour, what the Weather Service calls considerable. That severe thunderstorm warning lasts until 4 o'clock for Rockcastle and into Jackson County. So likely dealing with some very strong winds with that. You can kind of see that bowing segment right where Rockcastle, Jackson, and Madison counties come together. That's where we have that potential for winds to 70 miles per hour. But our main focus continues to be on the potential for a tornado developing along the Powell and Estill County line, south and west of Stanton by about 7 miles or so. Would have the greatest potential of seeing that develop. Let's check the velocity display here very quickly before we move on. You can still see that potential. It's now in southern Powell County. It's crossed the border, heading toward Highway 213 as you head south of Stanton as that continues to scoot to the east. We do not have we have another severe thunderstorm warning just came down. This also a tornado possible tag on it for Laurel and Pulaski County. So a busy afternoon here so far as we head into the next little bit. We're going to talk about that real quick with that potential for that tornado. That's a big warning just got issued there. That's headed toward downtown Somerset. So right down Hal Rogers Parkway as we head over the next hour or so. That runs until 4 o'clock. So really another 40 minutes hail to the size of nickels, and winds to 60 with that one, and also the potential for a spin-up tornado as we head through the next little bit. Brandon Robinson joining me here in the Weather Center so far. How was the drive-in, Brandon?
Yeah, it was not bad. Hopefully can you hear me in there? Okay, good deal. There we go. Yeah, not too bad. Trying to hustle, get in. I saw the tornado warning come out on my way in, so trying to hustle up and get here. But yeah, I've been seeing the warnings come in on my watch, but I didn't get a chance to really see the radar till right now. It looks like we've got a potent line of storms rolling toward us here this afternoon.
Absolutely, and this is kind of what we're talking about here. This is kind of wave one, if you will, kind of right into portions. This is just ahead of that line, and that's kind of where the favorable the favorable place for spinning thunderstorms is going to be ahead of that line. And you see just along, it's just north of the the Powell and Estill County line, headed toward Highway 213, about 6 miles south of Stanton. And that's going to continue moving to the east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour.
All right, let me get caught up here a minute. You go ahead. I'm going to get caught up for just a second.
All right, so we continue to watch this potential. We just got something from the chat here. We got penny-sized hail in Estill County about 20 minutes ago from the emergency manager out there. So this storm is producing some of that hail that we've been talking about, and has the potential to produce hail to the size of ping pong balls as this continues to push off to the east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. And you can see where our concern is. Look at the shape of this thunderstorm. Okay, there's where the hail's going to be, south of Stanton, and that's going to move down the Mountain Parkway corridor here over the next little bit. So if you know anybody traveling between Campton and Stanton, let them know you got some heavy rain, some hail headed your way. But look at the appendage back here. Look at how this curls around.
That's a classic hook almost.
It is. That is where the potential tornado would be as this continues to push off to the east. Let's put another track on this, headed to the east at about 35, I think it's 40 miles per hour now. We get the right tool here. We'll use the cone and we'll track that out for about the next half hour or so. If this continues on its current track, Furnace within the next 5 minutes by 3:30. That's when the warning is set to expire. Pilot by 3:35, Standing Rock by 3:42, Torrent by 3:46, toward Rogers by 3:48, and eventually toward Pine Ridge by about 3:51, and High Falls, if it holds together, by about 3:53. But that is a hook echo. We never really want to see those on Doppler radar because it gives us the indication that a tornado is becoming more likely. We have no reports of that. I want to stress, we've had no reports of that. We've had no reports of damage so far, but we need to watch this very closely as we head into portions of Powell into Powell County now. There you see it crossing the highway south of Stanton at this point. That's, I believe, what's that highway, Brandon? I had it.
213, I believe.
213, yes, between Stanton and the Powell County line, Powell and Estill County line. Let me be clear there.
Yeah, it'll be coming up. There's a new tornado warning.
Now we do have a new tornado warning that is in effect for portions of Wolfe County into Estill County. I believe that includes part of Breathitt County
Lee,
as well.
Menifee, Estill, Wolfe, and Powell until 4:15.
Okay, so we're in this for a little while longer now. A tornado warning in place. Let's get the specifics, throw them on the screen. A new tornado warning in place for several counties now. More counties than were in effect a little bit ago, now in place for Wolfe County. This takes in Campton. This is still north of Beattyville in Lee County, but Lee County's still in the warning. This takes in part of Estill County as well. Excuse me, not Estill County, Breathitt County. Having a little issue with the magic track. Let's go ahead and we'll pop that display up here and show you what we're talking about and kind of give you the full scope of this warning. And let's see if I can pan over. And there you see that second warning. This does not yet include the city of Jackson. It's far northwestern Breathitt County. So there is the warning. I'm going to move this down. That way you can see the full polygon here.
It does include the city of Campton, though.
Yes, Campton. This is a, we talked about Menifee County. This is a very small part of Menifee County.
Right.
Okay, this just takes in right along the Powell and Wolfe County line, the very far southern, not even tip of the county, but that possibility will be there as we head through the next Let's see, this runs for about another 45 minutes or so as this heads into Wolfe County now over the next little bit. And Brandon, I'm noticing something. It's not with the storm, but look at this little kind of shower that's popped up just to the south.
Oh yeah, discrete cell kind of in front of the,
right.
the line there.
That can indicate sometimes these supercell thunderstorms, what they can do is they can kind of ingest one of these little developing cells, and that can enhance rotation because it's kind of taking that updraft that's developing and kind of increasing the rotation in the thunderstorm. So that's something we need to watch very, very closely.
The one thing I'll notice, I'm going to step onto the wall for just a second, point something out here real quick. I have noticed that the hook here has come a little bit less defined. It's still there, you can see it, but it's not as well defined as it was. So that might be a good sign. Throw the velocity on there for just a second, Evan, and let's see what we got there, because I want to check that storm out. So it's still got a little bit of a couplet right there. So we really need to, oh, and it's a little bit brighter too. So we really need to kind of keep an eye on that. So that's past 213 over toward Furnace and then back over that way. So everything kind of going to the kind of the south and east there as we go through the rest of the area.
It's happened again. Hang on.
Happening again where you're having trouble moving it?
Yes.
Yep. All right.
Let's go back to zooming.
Let's go back to, there you go. All right. So basically we're looking at back here. Here's the couplet we're looking at. And that's basically spinning just, that is High Rock Road. Is that what that is?
Yes, that's High Rock Road.
High Rock Road there. It's northwest of Pilot, southeast of Knowlton, and then east of Furnace. So that's the area we're kind of watching there, and we'll just kind of keep an eye on that. And of course, we've got that new tornado warning that's out now for parts of Breathitt. It's also out for parts of Estill, Lee, a small sliver of Menifee, Powell, and Wolfe counties until 4:15.
So I'm going to track this out as this continues to move to the east and the southeast at 35 miles per hour. I got to get the motion right. This is going to be south of Stanton. So Stanton, we're really two tornado warnings right now. It's soon to be one here in the next 2-1. That one's done. So Irvin, you're in the clear now officially, but we will continue to watch that potential. I'm going to put the track on this couplet and move it to the east over the next 45 minutes because that's how long this warning goes. And if it keeps this current motion, we're talking places like Pilot. You need to be in your safe spot right now. It's on top of you basically right now, and over towards Standing Rock. That's 339. Zachariah pushing into Wolfe County by about 341. Campton by 352. Over the next, that's in the next 30 minutes or so. Vortex by about 355. Hearst by about 4. Wolverine, that's in Breathitt County,
yes,
by 411. And if you see kind of near the N and the E there on the edge of your screen, that's the radar at the National Weather Service in Jackson. It's the location of the radar. So we're going to be getting a pretty good sample of this thunderstorm and the rotation in it as it continues to scoot off to the south and east over the next 45 minutes or so. Exactly.
So again, if there is any good situation about this, all right, so they just let the tornado warning officially go for Estill, Lee, and Pound.
Like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. In fact, let's just back on out.
Yeah.
Because we have several severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now. You got the velocity display on here. Let's go back to the radar display, and you can see we are lit up right now. We have the tornado warning that's in effect for Powell, Wolfe, Lee, Breathitt, and a very small sliver of Menifee counties. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for far eastern Harlan, southern Letcher counties, as well as Wise County and the city of Norton in southwest Virginia.
That one has a tornado possible tag on it.
Yes, and actually several of these do.
Yeah.
The new severe thunderstorm warning that just came out for Estill, Jackson, Lee, and Owsley counties has a tornado possible tag on it. That has the potential to produce winds to 70 miles per hour. That cell that's on the Clay and Owsley County line, that one does, let me check. There's so many,
yeah,
I have to scroll back.
Up with them. Exactly.
I can't find it. It's back there somewhere, but that has the potential for at least 60 mile per hour winds. We have the severe thunderstorm warning that takes in portions of Laurel and Pulaski County that has a tornado possible tag on it, and that runs until that runs until 4:50. No, that runs until 4 o'clock.
So there you go. So quite a few warnings, and here is the main thing to take away from this. Very favorable atmosphere this afternoon. We're going to continue to see possible damage from these storms. Some of these storms, even with the severe thunderstorm warnings on them, have a considerable threat tag on them. So that just means, even with the tornado possible wording, it means that there's a possibility that you could see very much damaging winds, you could see some hail, you could see anything. So again, reset us completely out there, Evan, for just a second, kind of give us a broad view, and we'll go back to that tornado warning here in just a second. All of this here, everything you see, basically from Powell County, which not necessarily Powell County, but all the way up through there, all the way down toward Lake Cumberland and even over into parts of Harlan County. This system is just rolling in. So we've got plenty of time to go on this one. So you just got to be weather aware. You got to keep those alerts on. You got to keep watching, because this is just the leading edge, and you still got all of this area down here that's not seen a whole lot of development yet. And of course, I just came from inside from outside, and it's very humid, very muggy, and the atmosphere is very favorable for these warnings to keep popping. And
I was looking at the Louisville chat from just a minute ago. So Madison County, we were talking earlier for folks that have been with us for a little while, the Madison-Estill County line, that is the separation between the Weather Service offices in Louisville and Jackson. So reported to the Louisville chat was a tree down on Red House Road in Madison County, which is, that was about an hour ago. So that was when that storm was moving through parts of Madison County and eventually moved into Estill County. So let's turn the focus back to that tornado warning, and that hook is, well, kind of, it's there, but it's not like a contiguous, you know what I mean? But
it's not
right
as well
now,
defined as it
right,
was earlier.
But
Yeah.
if you're in Slade, we're looking at the possibility of hail to the size of $50 at this point, as that continues to push on to the east at about 35 miles per hour. So I'll put another track on this as it heads into Wolfe County and into eventually parts of Breathitt County as well. And this warning goes for about another 40 minutes or so. So we'll put this out for 40 minutes to the east and the southeast at 35 miles per hour. So places like Standing Rock within the next 8 minutes or so, Zachariah by 3:45, Rogers by 3:47, Campton 3:55, Vortex by 3:58, Hearst by 4:03, and Wilhurst by 4:11. So that's going to continue to scoot into Wolfe County and into Breathitt County, and it may clip a very small part of northern Lee County, but Beattyville is not in the tornado warning. Beattyville is in a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible for a completely different thunderstorm that continues to move through the area.
So far what I'm getting, I'm slowly getting caught up here, taking me just a minute. So what I'm getting is we have no confirmed reports of tornadoes.
Correct.
We have no confirmed reports of wind damage so far. But here is the thing. We know that these storms in this favorable atmosphere can cause wind damage. And we talked about earlier 50, 60, 70 mile an hour winds possible. So again, you just got to take your precautions. Even if it's a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag, take shelter, get into your safe spot. Again, like we talk about during school talks, you know, the watch is your basically time to get ready. The warning is your action time. So again, get in the shelters, make sure that you've continued to, if you've got a helmet, put it on. Sports helmet, bicycle helmet, whatever you've got, put it on there. But again, we're still tracking that potential tornado warning. It's a tornado warning, but the potential radar indicated tornado, no confirmed tornado for parts of several counties until about 4:15. Right here's the hook. We've been kind of watching a little bit, so we're going to continue to watch that. This is eventually going to drift into parts of Wolfe County, out of Powell County. It's eventually going to drift over toward basically northern Breathitt County. There's Highway 15. There's Highway 1812. Those both go into Wolfe County and from Breathitt County. Campton, you're in the tornado warning right now. Back over toward Stanton, you're a little bit on the clear side. It's just a little bit south of Slade there on the Powell-Wolfe County line, but it's riding along the Mountain Parkway as well. But the worst of it is to the south, so just continue to watch that. So we're going to continue to track this. And again, you've got a few minutes to get in your safe spots over, especially into Wolfe County. Go ahead and do it now, though, because again, you just never know in situations like this. And this is a system that could create wind damage, obviously, but just like we talk about in schools, you might have those spin-ups that are real quick. They'll be down and back up before you know it, and those can cause just as much damage as those strong winds, and the strong winds can cause just as much damage as a tornado. Absolutely.
I like to say, wind's going to do damage whether it's spinning or not.
Exactly.
So whether it's you know, we're talking about 70-mile-per-hour straight line winds or 70 miles per hour from a quick spin up tornado. And that's what we'd see today. Folks,
Right.
you know, folks hear tornado and they think, oh, it's, you know, it's just like, you know.
Here is the and I have been there for this, and I know Evan won't say it, but I will. This is not like 2012. I
Right.
can go ahead and tell you that these are going to be quick spin-up tornadoes. These are not going to be on the ground for 100 miles or more. These are going to be down and up, okay? So don't get terrified with that. Of course, we're going to continue to prepare you, keep you informed, and take you with us throughout the whole afternoon to make sure that you're staying up to date. But again, we're continuing to watch all this. Looks like they've continued that tornado warning there for parts of Breathitt, Estill, Lee, part of Menifee, Powell, and Wolfe counties, and they've just issued a new, or is that, no, that's a continuation too, of the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag for Laurel and Pulaski. So again, this is not 2012. I want to re-stress that very much so. These are the ones. And here's the thing, everybody hears the word tornado. This is why we hesitate to say the word tornado, because everybody thinks 2012. No, that's not a very likely situation. Everything was perfect that day. It's not perfect today, but it is stout. The wind is going to be stout for sure, okay? It's brief, spin up, isolated. Those are the words you need to focus on when we talk about tornadoes. But again, if you're in that tornado warning that goes until 4:15, that is basically for parts of Breathitt, Estill, Lee, Menifee, Powell, and Wolfe counties. You need to get in your safe spot, you need to take shelter, and you need to stay calm and stay collected as we go through the rest of this afternoon.
And that's right. And we still do have several, at least a couple hours to go with these. You know, we're looking at, you know, I'm just checking the Facebook comments. Everybody's asking, well, what about London? What about my town? If we haven't mentioned your town's name
That's
in
a good
while,
thing.
it's a good thing. It means we're not dealing with severe weather now. But we've been focusing on the tornado warning that is still in place in the portions of Powell and Wolfe County. We have several severe thunderstorm warnings, and all of these have tornado possible tags on them as they move to the east. So, Somerset, London, down toward Corbin. You're in a severe thunderstorm warning right now with a tornado possible tag on it and the potential for winds in excess of 70 miles per hour as that continues to move to the east. If you are in, as my mic falls off, if you're in Jackson County, in downtown McKee and further south, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning with the potential for 70-mile-per-hour winds. You know, just because it's not a tornado warning doesn't mean you shouldn't take shelter, because that is a mean line of thunderstorms pushing through Jackson County. That's pushing through southern Estill County, south of downtown Irvin. Irvin, you're seeing thunder and lightning, but most of it's to your south. Lee County, that's where we'll start to see thunderstorms in Beattyville. You've been hearing the sirens going off, or you've been seeing the alerts on your phone about a tornado warning. 70-mile-per-hour winds are going to be your biggest issue in Beattyville. In Booneville, Sturgeon, parts of Owsley County, northern Clay County, you're dealing with the potential for 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds, hail to the size of quarters and ping pong balls as that continues to push to the east. And we still have that warning down there, a tornado possible tag as we head towards Wise and Norton down in southwest Virginia. So some of the storms that have gone up ahead of this line already going severe as you head into southwest Virginia. We're watching a couple of storms that have popped ahead of this line into Clay and Owsley County. That's going to push into southern Breathitt, northern Leslie, over toward Perry County. That doesn't include Hazard, but that warning does include Buckhorn. And we still have the tornado warning into portions of eastern Powell County. So let's focus on that for just a second. We haven't talked about the tornado warning in just a little bit, but we still have that hook on that storm, and it's now crossing not far from Slade.
Exactly. So here we go. It's coming from Wolfe County, or excuse me, Powell County into Wolfe County. Let's put velocity on there. You read my mind there. It's not as well defined, but there is still a piece there near Slade, and there's that small piece just east of Pilot. That's now approaching Highway 11. So if you know anybody that lives down that way, make sure that they get into their safe spot, because even though this is very broad here, and this is kind of the area we're watching, kind of south of Slade, back over toward the east of Pilot, and here's Highway 11 right here, going back into parts of maybe down toward even Rogers and over into Wolfe County. Again, not as well defined as it was earlier, but as we've been saying all day, it does not matter, because you're going to have strong winds with this, so you need to get in your safe spot, especially if you're along the Powell-Wolfe County line, because it's coming up on you pretty quickly. I'm not sure exactly what speed that was moving Evan?
35 miles per hour.
So there you go. So again, if you're on the Wolf-Powell County line, make sure you get into your safe spot downstairs under something sturdy. Basement is best. Stay away from the windows. Again, just make sure that you are not in mobile homes. If you're in a mobile home, try to find somewhere to get out quickly to. If worse comes to worse, again, maybe go out and try to find a ditch. But at this situation, we do not have a confirmed tornado. I just want to make that clear as we head into the afternoon hours today. And the hook, a little bit less defined. So that's a good sign, but you're not out of the woods just yet.
Tracking this out at 35 miles per hour for about the next half hour. Torrent, you've got a little more than 5 minutes, okay? So if you're in Torrent, get in that safe spot now if you're not there already. Rogers, 352. Campton by 4 o'clock on the dot, and this warning goes until 4:15. Vortex until 4:03. Baptist, 4:06, and over toward Hearst by 4:08. So we're not done with this yet. We've got another 30 minutes left on the warning, and yeah, that's going to take us through the 4 o'clock, the top of the 4 o'clock hours. So not even mentioning the potential for winds to 60 and 70 miles per hour as we head into portions of the rest of the area.
I tell you what, real quick, Evan, let's zoom back out to kind of a view with all the severe thunderstorm warnings and all that out through there. I want to point out something to you right here. Anywhere you see, even not the tornado warning, but if you see this bowing, just like here, this whole segment, all the way down toward Lake Cumberland, there's going to be strong winds. I can tell you that for sure. So again, prepare for strong winds that could be 60, 70 miles per hour. They do just as much damage as a tornado, and tornadoes in this atmosphere are going to be short-lived. They're going to be brief, isolated. So again, we have that one tornado warning we're still watching, but anywhere you see along this line that it's bowing out just a little bit, that's an area you need to be concerned about. And there's still several areas in far eastern Kentucky, southeast Kentucky that have really not seen much yet, and it's a very favorable atmosphere. One good piece of information though, it looks like the severe thunderstorm warning for Harlan and Letcher has been allowed to expire.
Yes, that'll come off the map here in about 20 seconds, so that'll pop off there. Still in effect for Wise in the city of Norton until I believe that's 4. Let me check. They're in a different chat.
Yeah.
Okay, that one's going to be allowed to expire too. Never mind. So that will also be allowed to expire at 3:45 as that moves toward the city of Norton. New severe thunderstorm warning for Knox, Laurel, and Whitley County. There you see it popping on the screen. That one has the possibility of winds to 60 miles per hour. No tornado possible on that one.
Nope, just a regular.
No, I'm sorry. Tornado possible on that one. We have a new one for Breathitt, Floyd, and Magoffin for that next warning. That does not have a tornado possible on it.
Exactly. So both of those, the one for Breathitt, Floyd, and Magoffin goes until 4:15, and the one with the tornado possible tag for Knox, Laurel, and Whitley goes until 4:30.
I'm going to take the radar off for a second. Just show you the radar and the lightning, just to show you the warnings that we have in place as we're at 3:45. We'll turn the warnings on. I want to turn the lightning off so you see anywhere in that orange shading, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. And areas, it's a little hard to see, but areas where we have that black outline, those are the higher end severe thunderstorm warnings. They either have a tornado possible tag on them or they have the potential for 70 mile per hour winds or both. And then the red box there into portions of Powell and Wolfe County, coming right down the Mountain Parkway, that is a tornado warning, and that will continue until 4:15. I'm sorry, right? 4:15 on that one.
Yes, a lot of warnings.
A lot of warnings, but we are looking at a very strong line of storms pushing through the region. I'm just going to put a track on this overall because I think that is I believe that whole line is
kind
moving.
Of an easterly track. It looks
yes,
like.
that whole line is moving at. I want to make sure I have the right forward speed on that at 30 miles per hour. So these are not what I would say fast-moving storms.
Right.
But that is actually not a good thing because...
No. Because you can have more damage in that amount of time if they're moving slower.
Right. You can have more damage. You can have more heavy rain. These storms are producing a lot of rain. So this is along that line of thunderstorms. The severe thunderstorms will be into portions of this Greenmount here within the next minute or so. That's in far southern Jackson County. East Bernstadt, we're in the northern parts of Laurel County. White Ash by 4:01. London, downtown London by 4:07. Keavy by 4:12. Over toward Corbin and North Corbin by about 4:25. Bush by 4:33. And Seibert by 4:36. And if it holds together by 4:41, We're talking Jackson, which is dealing with a severe thunderstorm right now, or not yet, but will shortly be dealing, at least parts of Breathitt County will get there in that tornado warning as well.
Right.
And so let's zoom back in on that tornado warning. And the tornado warning is why we are on continuous coverage this afternoon. Tornado warning continues for eastern parts of Powell and most of Wolfe County until 4:15. This also takes in the very far northern sliver of Lee County, Kentucky, and of the very northwestern portion there of Breathitt County, and a very small sliver, an even smaller sliver of Menifee County until 4:15. So
something I want to point out real quick, I'm going to step on the wall for just a second. Look at all the electricity with these. Look at all these lightning strikes. So these storms are very electrical. We're still seeing a little bit of a hook here, not as well defined as it was earlier. So again, that's exactly what they've decided to do. They're going with a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag to take us past the next little bit there.
Which, that is a good sign. It means they, well, that also goes until 4:15, which makes me think they may be about to cancel that tornado warning.
So, yeah. So again,
we'll see what happens there. They're in their programming, getting things ready to go. So.
Right.
Down the Mountain Parkway, this is still a severe thunderstorm warning, and the tornado warning is still in effect for at least another.
Right.
Okay, that's a severe. That's the other severe thunderstorm south of.
Yeah, that's the new warning.
That is large hail on it. That is.
Yeah, that's 1 inch hail basically.
No, actually, it may not have popped up. We got two different chat windows open here.
Okay, here we go. Oh,
it's
1 point.
That
okay.
storm.
It's
in southern Owsley.
Yeah.
That has the potential of hail. I need to get my hail chart. What I need to do is print out the hail chart. Hail to the size of golf balls possible with this, and that is moving toward Buckhorn. So
there you go.
We need to watch that very closely. This is north of Oneida. This is southern parts of Owsley County. Right where Owsley, Breathitt, and a little knob of Perry County come together,
right.
Is in south of Lucky Fork. That is where the potential will be for the hail to the size of golf balls, which shows you how strong the updrafts are with these thunderstorms.
So again, wind, hail is a factor. Heavy rain. There's an excessive risk for a rainfall today, a slight risk if I remember correctly from this morning. But again, the electrical storms, strong winds. So this is a multi-level threat storm coming into the Buckhorn area. So if you know anybody that's out toward Buckhorn Lake, get them inside, okay? So and here's the thing. Use the old adage, when thunder roars, go indoors. What's going on?
Sorry, I'm just trying to make the lightning smaller.
Oh, okay. When thunder roars, go indoors. So if you can hear thunder, get inside because you're close enough to be struck by lightning to begin with. So we've got multi-level threats with this. We've got wind. We've got heavy rain that could lead to some localized high water issues. We've got hail. We've got the possibility for, all kinds of things. So just be aware of that and just continue to stay with us throughout the day, and we'll continue to keep you posted. I think we got a little bit of...
Yeah, we're having some issues with the Zoom there, but we have several severe thunderstorms in place right now, and several severe thunderstorms moving through the region. So let's kind of back up, talk about who's in and who's out of some of these warnings. So we still have the tornado. No, we don't. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire, which is good news. It's actually been canceled, so that will be let go, but we have a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah,
so that whole line is severe thunderstorm warned, and that now takes in Jackson, Clay. I'm waiting for I see the counties. I like the list because sometimes those counties, oh, there it is. Clay, Jackson, Laurel, Owsley. Yeah, Clay, Jackson, Laurel, and Owsley.
There's the new one.
And that's a tornado possible tag. So.
Yeah, so basically there is only one severe thunderstorm warning on the board that I can remember that does not have a tornado possible tag on it.
And it's that one in Breathitt, McGoffin, and Floyd.
Exactly.
At this point. And that's headed toward downtown Prestonsburg. So tornado warning has been allowed to expire, but we have several severe thunderstorm warnings. They all have the possibility. Basically, I'm just going to turn the radar off for a second, turn the lightning off, show you who's under what right now. Okay, so we have a severe thunderstorm warning that replaced the tornado warning for, okay, we know it's the Mountain Parkway. Thank you, Pinpoint Doppler, for it. Breathitt, Menifee, Morgan, Powell, and Wolfe counties. That still has a tornado possible tag on it, and that runs until 4:15 this afternoon. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Breathitt, McGoffin, and southern Magoffin and western Floyd. That goes until 4:15.
That is our only warning that does not have a tornado possible tag on it.
Correct. We have a severe thunderstorm warning. This takes in Estill, Jackson, Lee, and Owsley. That has the potential for 70-mile-per-hour winds. A tornado possible there until 4:15. We have this warning for Rockcastle and Jackson counties until 4 o'clock. 70-mile-per-hour winds possible. We have the severe thunderstorm warning for Pulaski and western Laurel County. That has a tornado possible on it and the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds until 4 o'clock. We have a severe thunderstorm warning. This is the newest one for Clay, Jackson, Laurel, and Owsley counties. That takes in London and very close to Manchester. That's until 4:30. With winds to 60 miles per hour and a tornado warning possible. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Knox, Laurel, and Whitley counties. That's a severe thunderstorm warning possible until 4:30 as well. And we have a severe thunderstorm warning also with a tornado possible tag. Southern Breathitt, northern Clay, northern Leslie, southern Owsley, and the northwestern part of Perry County until 4:15.
And that's our hail maker right there. That's the one we could have up to golf ball size hail.
Yes.
Anytime you see when these pop up threat level considerable, it's either wind or hail. So pay attention to that. So again, not necessarily tornado.
And a new one.
Okay.
Wait for it to pop up. That is eastern Pike County. That has a tornado possible tag.
Exactly. So again, here is the thing. This is a very serious situation. A lot of people think, oh, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning. Every one of these, except for one, has a tornado possible tag on it. 3 of them have a considerable threat level, either hail or either strong 70-mile-per-hour winds. There's the new severe thunderstorm warning, basically going into parts of the Raccoon Creek area, going back toward Phelps there along 632. 632. We're on 194. I've traveled that area many times, going out toward Feds Creek and over toward Johns Creek and all those areas out there toward Meta. So if you're in that area, again, you're kind of under the gun for this one. This is basically for wind, I believe, for the most part. But again,
yes, 60-mile-per-hour, quarter-size hail, and a tornado possible.
So again, every one of these, except for the one we were talking about a little bit earlier, have the tornado possible tag wording on them. So you treat these just like almost tornado warnings. They're not tornado warnings, but treat them as such because of the simple fact there is multi-level threats with these storms today, and they're not done yet. Look at all the area. If you want to reset there for a second, circle basically the areas that have not been even affected by any warnings just yet. We still have all of this area to get through. There you go. He's circling it right now. Southwest Virginia, parts of southern West Virginia, south of Hazard right now, Harlan, some of these places. That atmosphere has not been worked over yet, so it's still got some time to go before we get there. So we're going to be kind of keeping an eye on these, and we may, I think what we'll do is we'll go into the 4 o'clock news and keep a close eye on them. We'll come right back if there's a tornado warning issued again.
That's at least my plan. I haven't been able to talk to anybody outside of this room in a little bit. Vaughn's Mill, about 3:15, so this was about 40 minutes ago. Nickel to quarter-size hail covering the ground.
See, and if you've got a picture of that, please submit that to us. We would love to see that because that's one of those situations where you typically see it looks like almost snow covering the ground. So please get that into us if you have a picture of that.
And Estill County, this is near Engle in Estill County. We've got hail to pennies. That was reported about 55 minutes ago. So, so we still have, I'm going to animate this here real quick, and then we're going to kind of pause for a second, reset, go into Mountain News First at 4 because weather's not the only headline today, folks. We got about another 2 hours and 4 minutes before the polls close in a gubernatorial primary. So it's a busy day all throughout the mountains. So we're dealing with several isolated thunderstorms. There's one in Pike County. There's one in parts of Breathitt and Menifee counties. There's one in Clay and Owsley counties. Or I should say it's more into Owsley and Perry and Breathitt counties. We have a line of storms now pushing. There's a strong cell into portions of Whitley and Knox counties. So it's a busy day. We've got plenty more to go in the weather department. We have plenty we haven't even touched yet when it comes to the election that is happening today. And so here's a piece of advice. I hope you voted early.
That's exactly what I said.
That's what I did. I voted at 10 o'clock. So, in any case, we've still got the potential for severe thunderstorms through this evening. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take a pause, reset a little bit, come back at the top of the hour with the very latest on Mountain News First at 4. We'll start off with the weather. Then we'll move toward the election coverage. But for Brandon Robinson and meteorologist Evan Hatter, this has been a Mountain News special report from the First Alert Weather Team.